Welcome to the Explosion Network's Alita Battle Angel full spoiler review discussion. I'm Dylan Blight. Joining me, Ashley Hobley.
How you doing? It's good to be here.
Excited to talk about one of the highest grossing movies of the year, Ash.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're like 2 months in.
We're into March now, so
I mean, yeah, that's true.
It is true. Yeah, just saying. It is, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But
I'm sure Aquaman probably has already made more money this year than this did.
According to the stats. So yeah,
it wasn't released this year. That's the only reason it's not.
Was it? When was? Oh yeah, that's right. It's December. It's so late in the year, it kind of becomes confusing. Hey, So yeah. This is your one and only warning. This is full spoilers. So we're going to be talking about all the things. If you're worried about that, feel free to leave now. But let's jump straight into it. So what are your overall thoughts on Alita? Did you like it? Didn't you like it? What was the things you liked the most? What were the things you didn't like the most? How do you feel about it?
Okay. It was just fine. Yeah. I mean, the world was pretty cool. Some of the action sequences were right, but it just felt very rushed. Like they were trying to rush through the whole story, rush through all the character development. Yeah. There's so many. There's just a lot of weird things in it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly setting up for a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I give them one thing is they kind of wrap up. It's not too much of a cliffhanger. Like, it obviously sets up a sequel.
I mean, it could end and we never see anything again, and you'd be like, I guess it stands all right on its own.
Yeah, that's my one thing. It's like it's not so much of a cliffhanger that it ruins the movie. Like, they don't resolve anything or like have any sort of thing in this movie, because they do wrap up Mahershala Ali's villain, and like, there's certain stuff that happens. It's not just all. You're not introduced to whatever, I can't remember, I've got it here somewhere, but what is Edward Norton's? Nova, right. Nova as the big villain. He's not like introduced.
We say it was a spoiler review? Yeah.
Yes. He's not like set up as the main villain from the start and then kind of never seen for it. It's like hint that, and then of course revealed at the end and set up for the sequel. So, but I'm fine. I think for me it's fun. I enjoy it. It was like a very popcorn, mindless time in the cinema, as much as that term is kind of whatever to me, but it is that kind of thing. I think the CGI is probably where it stands out. Like, if you're someone who loves CGI, which I'm not in particular, but I was quite impressed with this movie. Like, the CGI's tops, and considering this movie is done by Weta, which is like arch nemesis to ILM, I suppose, and like the whole like argument of who does the the better special effects. But I think this is a really, really great show off of their stuff, because all the characters, given their androids and stuff that they have attached to them and all these sorts of things, is
the giant floating world.
Like, it's obviously a movie that's very, very heavy on special effects, but I thought it looked real, as real as something like this can look, given what the subject matter and everything is about it. But yeah, I enjoyed most action scenes. I think most importantly, I enjoyed Alita as a character, I guess, and the actress playing her, Rosa Salazar, she was good, and most other characters, I was like, that was fine. It gets a little bit an extra point for having the girl from dates that one and the guy from Love Simon be teamed up in this movie, which I'll get to in a second, as some background characters. But I was watching it going, oh, 2 characters from 2 movies like last year teamed up here. So that's the thing that's happening. I did recently also, I was going to point out that neither of us have read the manga or seen the anime thing, but I did watch the anime thing the night before recording this. So I now have a little bit of it's a 2-episode thing, it takes you like an hour to watch or whatever, and you can tell that was what heavily inspired the way they shot this film, because there are several times during the anime where it's like shot for shot what was actually in the final product, the movie. Like from the opening scene with the doctor looking through that scrapyard and stuff, that's pretty much shot for shot what actually ends up in the movie with Christoph Waltz and stuff. There's a lot of story stuff and characters that are completely different, and I would presume the anime is a lot closer to the manga in regard to the characters. I don't know what other things they've changed to like speed up the timeline, because the anime's plotline is pretty much find her, save her, much like the movie. Then you get introduced to, obviously finds out that the doctor's a hunter warrior. She signs up, becomes a hunter warrior. All of a sudden, they get into a fight with that big dude like they do in the movie and stuff. But then Mahershala Ali's character isn't really introduced to the second part of the 2-part thing. And then you also never get introduced to Nova at all. He's like never seen as a background character. There's none of this with like weird taking over, talking through characters' eyes and stuff. There's none of the sports ball stuff that the movie had. Any of that stuff's involved in it. The romance with Hugo is more, she's for whatever reason head over heels in love with him and chasing him, whereas he's not really trying. He's just like, I want to get to that place up there, and a lot of stuff. It just moves a lot faster given it's an anime and stuff like that, but then there's a lot of characters left out, which I found interesting to go back and watch. All right, where do you think this ranks though in the scheme of like all the anime adaptations and things like that we've seen come out? Because most of the time they are crap.
So I guess it's higher on the list because it's not crap, it's just mediocre. I mean, off the top of my head, probably up there with Speed Racer and that recent Bleach adaptation. I don't have a long list of anime adaptations that I've seen, so it's hard to say. But
I suppose you should say, like, was it the Bleach one? The Bleach one is
it's surprisingly solid.
That's a Japanese thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Japanese adaptation.
Yeah, so I would say, like, I think I'm probably more comparing this to the American ones solely because.
Well, then Speed Racer.
Yeah. Because like there's a few of the, like, I personally don't mind the Japanese Death Note movies and stuff like that. I think they're fine and stuff. So
I'm sure there's a bunch of awesome Japanese adaptations of stuff.
that weird stuff, and I still haven't watched the Bleach one, which I should get around to. But yeah, I think in the American scheme of just turning stuff into crap, I'd rank this one pretty high, pretty up there, like top 3 or whatever, like one of the better ones.
It is a short list though.
Yeah, it is a very short list, but at the same time,
it's growing.
Yeah, but I do think it's worth at least giving its props for like taking that step to head in a potentially right direction for these adaptations, because it's like video games, anime, whatever. They usually just, adaptations are not exactly great. So I think it's worth its dues there. All right, I want to dive into some characters and we can discuss the storylines and stuff like that, and the actors portraying them and what you thought about them. So the first two I want to talk about is the the ones I was talking about just before, which is George Lindbergh Jr. and Lana Condor as Tanji and Koyomi, who are the background gang members for Hugo, I guess. Like, he's the main 2 backup gang members, where Tanji hates Alita, and then Koyomi is kind of like, whatever, get over it, man. But for me, as I was just saying before, I quite enjoyed having one of the guys from Love, Simon be with the girl from all the boys I've ever loved in a movie on screen together. I quite enjoyed that. So
yeah, it's just funny. This was probably shot like a year and a half ago, maybe. A lot. Well, it was pushed back a whole year because they were doing in digital effects. So in that year, she went and did To All the Boys I Ever Loved, which blew up, and she's also in that Deadly Class show, which apparently is all right. He went and did Love, Simon came out, but then he was also the male lead in Bumblebee.
Was he the love interest in it?
He was the love interest, yeah.
There you go. Well, that was heavy special effects.
So then you've got these 2 background characters who in these other films are the leads. You're like, you're doing nothing with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was a bit jarring.
Yeah. These things happen sometimes, I do notice, though.
Yeah.
You know, like, especially for these heavy special effects movies where you have actors like this in the background who, like, when they cast nobodies or whatever, and then, yeah, it's like this weird thing we're talking about now where, because it takes so long, by the time it actually comes out, people are likely to get distracted by them, I suppose, because they're like, oh, I like them in things that have happened recently. That's exciting. Yeah, since this was shot. So, yeah, character wise, I don't really care. They were fine or whatever. No. But I did find it interesting that they were there, given they'd both kind of got more popular over the last year or so, I guess.
I know it was weird. There was points where she was just standing there with no lines, and it's like, why aren't you talking?
Yeah,
there was that a lot.
You're a star girl. What are you doing? Oh, it was 2 years ago. This was shot or whatever.
No, there's also, I think, another scene with the doctor and the nurse, where she's just standing there while he monologues and doesn't respond. I'm like, why aren't you saying any lines?
She's nobody.
It was just awkward, yeah. It was weird.
At the time, I guess. They were like, you can't have lines, girl. All right, let's talk about the two main antagonists, I guess, like two main fights that Alita has, characters that Alita has fights against, I guess. So the first one I did not even realize who it was until the credits. It blew my
you couldn't tell, really, to be fair.
Which, once again, as we're talking about special effects and stuff, yeah, good job, because I literally could not fucking tell. So the first character is Gariska, which was played by Jackie Earle Haley, and I was like, mind blown. What? Didn't have any idea. And I think it blew my mind more because we weren't like really, I know like both of us weren't paying any attention to this movie, like going into it really. We weren't following like casting and you know, shit like this. So unless you was like a fan of the anime or the manga or something, you probably would have been paying attention and being like, Jackie Earle Haley cast as this character, because the character was in the anime as well and would have been judging it and whatever else. But yeah, going in and seeing the credits show and be like, huh, that's I had no idea. And then obviously I could tell who the other person was because his face, it was probably in his fucking contract. You can't do anything to this face, all right? It was Ed Screen.
Well, to be fair, that was like a big character thing.
I guess, yeah, it's also for his character.
Sort of. Yeah. They say it once and then it's meant to be a big character thing.
And then it's like a big thing by the end of it. Ed Screen, is it Screen or Screen? Screen, I guess. As Zapan, who was one of the other bounty hunters as well. Yeah, how do you feel about these two in the movie and their characters, I guess?
I mean, they were fine. I mean, Grishka had more character motivation, I guess. She was just part of an evil organization, sort of a henchman. Ed Screen's character was just a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. And yeah. Oh no, you made me look bad. I'm gonna kill your boyfriend.
Well, to be fair, she just like slice his face off at the last encounter.
At the end.
Yeah.
And not at the start though, he just knocked him over.
Yeah. Embarrassed him.
Yeah.
He didn't like it, you know. It's a whatever character, you know, like it obviously has no substance or anything to it like that, but he plays a good arsehole, and the character was meant to be an arsehole, and he made you dislike him a lot, which works when it's the character that's chasing the love interest and all these sorts of things, because obviously they want like you to hate the villain even more. It's like chasing Hugo and all these sorts of things. I thought, but yeah, even like Jackie Earle Haley's character is like, it's a big blumbering, dumb henchman. You know, it's like dumb Bane type character. You know, it's like it's big, it charges, does damage or whatever, it wants to kill, but it's not exactly a smart or a character that has any motivation outside of
the
kill
chain
things.
hand thing was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that fight was
both characters made for cool fight scenes, but weren't exactly super interesting, and both actors were fine given what they had.
They did what they needed to do.
They did what they needed to do. Although, yeah, my big takeaway once again is just those special effects did wonders, because I had no idea it was even him. We move on to the next one. Also note, this movie has a lot of stars in it. A lot more stars than I actually knew about going into it, because I wasn't fully aware of the cast. But yeah, so next couple characters I want to talk about is Mahasha Ali as Vector, and Jennifer Connelly as Shireen. Shireen? Is it Shireen? I think it was Shireen, wasn't it?
Shireen, yeah.
Shireen, I think something like that.
Man, Mahershala Ali would make a great Blade.
Yeah. It does look like Blade in this.
Yeah.
It's the same glasses and everything, like style and stuff. This is what I know as bad as it is, but seeing him in this movie, my first thought was thinking about Jupiter Ascending and what's his name?
Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne, but yeah, because like he won that Oscar and stuff, and then he was in Jupiter Ascending and was like panned for his horrible, like ridiculous performance and all these things. And I was like, oh, is this the movie where? Because obviously he's been Mahershala Ali's he's been like but he's like been hit, and like everything he's doing is getting props for amazing acting. And like at the time going and watching this,
nothing I can do wrong.
Yeah. Going in at the time watching this is like he's nominated for Oscars. He's on TV. True Detective is airing at the time this movie's coming out, which he's getting a lot of praise for his performance in that and stuff. And then you go in and watch this and he's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. he's fine. I wouldn't say it's like a waste of him. Well, at the same time, it kind of is.
He has an alright monologue at the end, but
yeah, he doesn't. I don't know. It
doesn't do a lot.
It's like a fun performance, I guess. It's just like, as you said, it's a payday movie, I guess. Similarly, though, Jennifer Connelly kind of wasted. I feel like she doesn't really get much to do.
Doesn't do much.
Yeah,
and then she just suddenly turns at the end.
Yeah, they're both characters that are fine, I guess, and they're both performances given by actors I feel can do a lot better. And I don't know, like, were they cast to bring people in to watch the movie because they're bigger names or something? Because both of these characters I feel like could have just been played by like unknown actors or smaller actors. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like any of the performances or the script that they had to work with and the characters they had to work with were particularly needing of these two actors. And I don't feel like the actors brought anything special to it or were given the chance to bring anything special to it. They were enjoyable, I suppose. It was fine though. Yeah. Like the whole thing, it's like she wants to get back up there and whatever the fucking, what's it called? Zolom, that's one. Zolom. She wants to get back to Zolom, and he's like doing this whole thing, and then he's manipulating Hugo and whatever else. It's like, okay. I feel like you could just cast nobodies really in these roles because they didn't really feel necessary. All right, then we got Christoph Waltz as Dr. Dyson, as in the vacuum Ido, who is. It's just Christoph Waltz is my problem with this. And after watching that anime last night, the 2-episode thing, the portrayal and the feel I got about this character in that is a lot different to what Christoph Waltz brings to this character. And I much preferred what I saw in the anime and wish they'd gone.
How so? What was the difference?
He's just more... He's like still older, right? But he's not like super. Like when he goes into the fights, he seems a bit more capable. I think my biggest break of disconnect from the movie is when he picks up that sword thing or whatever the fuck it is.
The giant axe.
The giant axe thing with
the giant hammer. That's what it is.
Yeah, with the fucking turbojet attached to the end of it and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm like, you're not going to do shit with that. Like, I think I had a big disconnect with Christoph Waltz, like, and the idea that he was actually out there fighting people with this thing, if you know what I mean.
Well, he doesn't. That's the thing.
Yeah, but we've seen him come back time and time, but you assume that he does because he comes back.
That's the problem. They should have shown you actually doing it.
Yeah.
But successfully.
Yeah. But the one time we see him try and get into a fight, it's just like, oh God, like what are we doing over here?
This sounds like maybe it would work in the sense that he's just scraping by. Like, maybe. Oh, well, he sort of builds it at the start. It sort of built up like a Jack the Ripper thing. I thought we were going down a murder mystery kind of thing, but no.
There's also, I much enjoyed in that anime that their relationship with him and Alita's is a lot closer and a bigger thing of that compared to this. Like,
I think the problem there is it's super rushed. How long is this meant to have taken place over? Like 7 days?
So yeah, it's like ridiculous.
It's like, how are you supposed to set up like a father-daughter relationship sort of thing?
I guess, yeah.
7 days.
Yeah. But I think the thing there is in this, they spend a lot of time with the romance stuff and having her go out with Hugo and stuff. When, like, even though that anime thing's only 2 episodes and it's an hour, and I'm not saying it's the best thing I've ever watched. It's just obviously I'm comparing it to the movie, which makes sense. There's one scene like where they could have had her go out with Hugo or track down Hugo or something, but in the anime she's out and she's just, and this is after she becomes a hunter warrior, and she's just out walking about with him, just talking to him. She heads out to that like the bounty hunter club, whatever bar thing.
Yep.
She just heads there with him. Like they're just out together having a good time or whatever, just talking and chilling and stuff like that. So like there's a little bit more done to say about their relationship. So even though I will say there's one part in the anime that's quite weird where where she says she wants to become a hunter warrior and he just begins screaming about stuff like, no, you can't do it. You're doing this. So you don't need to do anything. What do you need? Money? I'll give you money. All you need to do is sit around and be beautiful. I was like, yeah, that's a bit weird, but
yeah, good thing that was cut.
That was probably cut for the right reasons. But I do feel like just having them spend more time together and stuff kind of helps build that character for what it is. Whereas in the movie, they choose to, of course, spend a lot of time where she's out hanging around with Hugo and building that romance up. And we'll talk about him in just a second. Yeah. But yeah, it's also just, I don't know, I miscast. I don't know. It's just Christoph Waltz is fine, but I think I'm just getting sick of him playing. It's just Christoph Waltz in another movie, you know? Like, I feel like the more and more I see of Christoph Waltz, it's just him in another movie where it just constantly feels like Christoph Waltz. Like, he's not bringing anything to it.
Typecast, I feel. Like, they get him in to play that role that he plays. You know? The role that he played in Spectre not very well, and in Green Hornet not very well, and in Inglourious Basterds really well.
It's like Inglourious Basterds. These days I look at Christoph Waltz and I think Inglourious Basterds Christoph Waltz is a lot different. Like he's doing something there, you know?
Yeah.
I just feel like the Christoph Waltz now is just this, it's the quirky whatever character he comes across as. But yeah, I don't know. He was fine in this. I feel like it's a role that could have been of a lot more importance to the relationship with him and Alita. And I feel like if they had someone else there to bring some more warmth to it, I suppose is the word. Because I just didn't really feel as much as they try and sell, like it's the daughter and the body and all this sort of stuff, I just couldn't really, I didn't get it. Like I didn't buy into what they were trying to sell me, I guess, for that.
That's another thing that irked me, the body thing. Like she brings the body back and he's like, oh, I'm never going to give it to you. And then like 10 minutes later, she gives him the body. Like everything was fine.
Yeah, all she needed to do is walk up to her room, fall off a building and smash her body and then be like, Dad.
What are you going to do now?
Yeah. You're going to save me or let me die, you fucking asshole. Jeez. Yeah, that. And again, a lot of that stuff was added into it. It's like, feels unnecessary. The you know, like if you just have her have that body from the start and then you make that part of her like growing up and learning like how to control her body or whatever, I feel like that's a stronger narrative rather than she starts with a weaker body and then she gets a stronger body. Like I don't know, I feel like it would just been better if she had the strong body from the start and was like kind of dealing with discovering how to control having that body as well as discovering who she was and the place she's now living in and all these sorts of things, of course. All right, let's move on to the one Kean Johnson as Hugo, the love interest in this movie. I definitely feel like this was my least favorite part of the movie, was any and all things to do with the love story happening here between him and Alita. I could not buy into it at all, and I thought he comes across very, don't know what the word exactly I'm looking for, but like I definitely feel like when he's surrounded by all these A-class actors, he just sticks out like a sore thumb, I guess, Not to say that he's terrible, but I feel like he just isn't up to the par of everyone else that's involved in the movie, and it did stick out to me a lot, like he didn't belong or something. Yeah. How do you feel about?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I think their relationship was totally built on Alita being way more interested in him than he was probably interested in her, at least at first. And then, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird choice. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about it. I don't. It wasn't too interesting. I mean, weird that it suddenly turned into a cyborg, and then he decides to walk up that thing to Zolom.
That's all very up down, very quick. It's like Spikes. He's dead. He might be dead. He's saved. He's got the thing. He's dead again. Like it's just like boom, boom, boom in like a 15-minute period or whatever. It's a bit much. No time to let anything grow. Like I don't know, any time for any emotions or anything. Characters.
This movie could have ended like 5 different times at the end.
Yeah, it literally could. It could have just ended with. Yeah, like I mean, one cliffhanger would have just been like him getting saved, and like cliffhanger. Yeah. Oh no, Vector or whatever is after us all now in the next film, and something like that.
That's right. Thought for sure it was going to end.
Yeah, but then she goes and kills him.
Another 20 minutes.
Yeah, then goes and kills him and goes on. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the love story is just whatever, but I think I do just really think, as mean as it is to say, that he's just, as an actor, just stood out a lot in a position where he was the worst, among a bunch of people who were a lot better at doing it, And I don't think that helps when you're surrounded by all these really...
Christoph Waltz, Mahershala Ali, Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's talk about Rosa Salazar as Alita, the main character, of course. I thought I will say another thing, like the eye thing, the big eye thing, not sure what that's about. Considering again...
Just to make sure she's a robot.
I watched that thing last night, not part of it. There's no like big eye thing. It's just a decision that's made in this. I don't really understand it. I don't know if there's a reason behind it that I don't understand or something, but either way, so she then has to do the movie all with dots on her face and all these sorts of things. But I thought she gave a really decent performance, and considering a lot of this movie relies on her being able to sell what little emotional resonance there is between any sorts of characters and story going on here, which there isn't much really, but the little we have is important to pull the movie through, and I definitely feel like she sold it. And like, given how much I hated that romance stuff that was all happening and him sticking out like a sore thumb, she at least brought something to all of those scenes that made them continue on to be enjoyable and stuff. And all of the action scenes with her, she didn't bring that like that. I don't know, is it too bad just to be like, the anime-ness of it, I guess, but she decent level of just yelling and and stuff in the fights and stuff that carried over. But yeah, what do you think of her?
Yeah, she did what was required. I mean, the script didn't do her any favors, I don't think, but yeah, she was really good. Nothing really stood out, I don't think. I think obviously I think it helped that I hadn't seen her in anything else. Otherwise, I think the eye thing would have been really distracting.
Mm-hmm.
But because she's sort of an unknown, it was easier to just fall into the character.
You haven't watched Chips?
No. So did you find it distracting?
No. Because I knew who she was, but she wasn't. She's not like big enough that it's like...
No. If it was like freaking Chloe Moretz Grace... that role, you'd be like, what the fuck is up with her face?
Yeah, that would be something different. But going into it, I knew who she was. I knew I'd seen stuff with her in it, and I can like picture her saying like certain things from like Chips and what else is she in? The TV show, I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah.
But like seeing the eye thing, it was like whatever. She was disguised. She was playing a different role. Cool. I'm sold. It was good. All right. Now let's talk about the last big thing about this movie, which is of course the reveal of Edward Norton as being the big bad villain of Nova in the finale. So 2 questions. A, do you want to see the sequel? If the sequel came out, would you want to actually go and watch it? And B, do you think we have a chance of giving it? And we'll add in that information again. It has done roughly $260 million worldwide so far, and it's sitting currently at the second highest grossing movie of the movie of the year worldwide. Just like some stats to help answer these questions. But yeah, how do you go? Do you want to watch it? Do you think we'll get a sequel?
Only if it looks better, or if we're doing this. To be perfectly honest, do I think there's a chance? I mean, maybe. Yes. What? It's still early days. I think. What was the budget on the film? 200 million. So I guess they're in the green. So I mean, maybe they'll do a sequel. It'll be another 20 years away, but
yeah,
I mean, James Cameron's working on it, so
well, unless they just ditch him and
maybe he lets go and lets Robert Rodriguez
do something. Just does it by himself.
This was the most un-Robert Rodriguez movie ever, I think, as well.
Yeah, I agree.
But though I think he's come out and said he wanted to make a James Cameron movie, so he was trying to be James
success.
Cameron.
I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know exactly what a James Cameron movie is these days. Is
well, there's yeah,
like
CGI apparently.
Yeah. Actually, probably these days that is correct. But when I think James Cameron, I obviously think like Terminator and stuff back in the day, and I'm like, that's not really James Cameron now. Anymore. So that's not what
it's either CGI or you're in under the water.
Yeah, doing a documentary. That's what James Cameron movie is. So I would want to see a sequel. And look, let me put it out there. I have a lot of problems with this movie, as we're saying, but I think I enjoyed it still because at its core, I enjoyed the world. I was interested in the world and the story stuff they were sitting in. I don't think the movie done a good job of telling me the story or letting me explore the world or anything, but it still like introduced me to this world and characters and stuff that I found interesting. And I thought the CGI and stuff was really, really good. That made it a good time, just to sit there and watch fucking people clash into each other and explode into a million pieces and whatever else was going on. So much so that I was interested to watch that animated thing, and I would even be interested to potentially read it because I do find the world and stuff interesting. So if they did a sequel, yeah, I'd go watch it. Would I want it to be better than this? Yes. Yeah. Yes, I would want it to be better than this. But my thing is that I don't feel like it would be because I don't know how much story's left, but I know that it's like if they get greenlit for a sequel, they got to know that you got to finish the story in that. You're not going for a trilogy here kind of thing.
No.
So then I just feel like it'll end up like this one, which wouldn't be the end of the world. Like I'd watch it and be like, yeah, I'd say fine, I guess. But
didn't you say, I think you mentioned before that it used like 8 volumes of the 10. So, I mean, they've only got 2 more volumes to adapt in a sequel. Maybe it would be a bit more fleshed out.
But then they're adding in their own stuff and whatever else as well. So then I'm like, I'd get worried about how much like crammed in they would get with different storylines and stuff. And then I'd, of course, want to spend about, I don't know if he comes back to life. Let's presume he does. And then there's fucking 40 minutes of robot love making scenes, cyborg love making scenes. And
well, I guess you never see the body.
You'd never see the body. That is the golden rule of television cinema. Do not believe what you don't see. But yeah, I'll watch it. I wouldn't say like I wouldn't bet on it that we get the sequel, but I would also put it in the, like, it has a chance given that it's actually making money. Because that's another thing. A lot of people I see online, well, to be fair, I've seen a lot of people online say that they're really, really enjoying this movie. I've seen a lot of other people like just shitting on it and thinking it's like bombing and whatever. And I'm like, well, if you actually look at the numbers, it's not.
Well, that's because they're American and they think their numbers count for everything. So.
Yeah, I hate that when you go onto the websites, it's like it gives you domestic numbers first. I'm like, I don't fucking care about American domestic numbers. Just give me the worldwide numbers. I want to know how the movie is doing worldwide. Fucking hell. So yeah, we could potentially get one. I reckon I'd sit on it for at least a couple of years, so you wouldn't see a sequel for like 5 years from now or something anyway. So,
No.
but then even then, I'm like, well, that's potentially too long. Is my worry. I'm like, if you're gonna do it, then you have to do it faster while the iron's hot, kind of thing. So, I don't know. We'll see. We will see what happens.
Cool.
All right.
I just want to hit on three last things.
Go for it. Lasting thoughts.
Motorball, that was weird, and I didn't understand anything about it. What was the point?
So
you're trying to get the ball to the end of the of the track? Is that what the point was?
And then you go do a lap, and then you throw the ball in or something. I feel I didn't really make sense.
There's no hoops to throw the balls in, and it just seems to be murder everybody.
It was a sport set up, obviously based on roller derby or something. Was
that
my assumption.
Sense.
I assumed it was inspired by roller derby.
I mean, it made sense when they were playing it in the street.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a clear, definitive goal.
No, it's the same. It's the same sort of thing, I guess. Like, because even when they're playing on the street, they go around in a circle, and then when they get to the end, you've got to have the ball and like chuck it into the thing. Yeah. So I presume it's the same on the bigger scale, and like if they'd actually reach the end of that track or something, then one of them
felt like when you were doing it on the street, it was like a team thing.
Yeah, well, they were just maybe there's different modes. Maybe there's teams. Maybe there's solos. Maybe there's death matches. I don't know. It was basically
seemed like an excuse to smash each other, CGI things to smash each other.
I believe it was set up solely to have that scene later in the movie, so then they could have them do a roller skating scene on top of rooftops and stuff like that.
Although the track did remind me of Speed Racer.
Yeah, I agree, and that's I've said this before, of course, but not in this video. This movie does remind me of Speed Racer in a lot of ways, and it's that it looks good. Speed Racer when it came out looked really, really good. Like whatever,
still does.
Like 2006 or whatever the year it came out, it was like, holy shit, this is some CGI's happening here. Everyone, it's kind of crazy. But although I feel like this movie is a lot better than Speed Racer, I'm not the biggest Speed Racer fan. It just knows what it is. You know, it pulls no bullshit about what it is. And I kind of respect that. In a way, like it's not trying to have all this ridiculous action and whatever else happening with characters fighting one another, and then like suddenly halfway through the movie, be like, "Oh shit, we're really serious," and we're like diving into what it means to be a human and what's it mean to be an android. You know, like they didn't suddenly. It's like throughout the whole movie, they're just like, "No, fucking androids. They're fighting. It's cool. Do you like this shit? Look at all the flips she just did. Look at it. Look, she's got a cool sword now. How cool is that cool sword? Yeah, that's right. Oh, you wanted a movie about substance and stuff? You get the fuck out of here. We're just we're just got a bunch of robot beings and whatever else fighting one another here. Get out of here if you want something better than that." So I respect that at least doesn't try and be something smarter than what it is.
Also, the scene where she pulls out her heart and offers it to Hugo, that kind of lost me a little.
That was the weirdest scene in the movie.
She's freaking crazy.
That was the weirdest scene in the movie. That 100%. And I don't even understand why. All right. They're like, hey, she has a heart that's like this ancient technology. Like nothing ever really comes back to that. It's basically introduced. Like they introduced the fact that she has this whatever turbo powered heart, and then it's really only used to explain how she's a little bit stronger, and then also used as a moment so she can pull it out and go, "Here, do you want this?" It's like that crazy girlfriend meme thing moment is what she was doing. Yeah. You know, love me forever. Take this. Yeah, that was.
I mean, at least she broke the tension at the end by saying, "Oh, that got intense."
That got intense. Hey, that's weird. I was weird, wasn't I? Wasn't that weird then? He was Alita. He was quite weird then. That was odd.
Yeah, I think that could have lost a lot of people in the film, I think.
That was weird. You could cut that whole scene and just like out of the movie. Whoever was editing this, failed. Just be like, hey, I know you're the director, but this scene, no. Blu-ray deleted scenes.
This is weird.
This is weird. Let's get rid of this scene. And the fucking Robert Rodriquez is like, it's necessary for their love romance. I'm like, no, Robert. No, Robert, it's not. It's definitely not necessary for their romance at all. It's a weird scene.
Then the last thing, you know, the iconic imagery we've been seeing on the post and everything of like the red underneath the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
It is so messed up that that's actually dog blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, put it on. Got to put your.
Everybody's been dressing up as her and everything. It's dog blood.
Yeah. Maybe people would know. Well, I assume if people were dressing up ahead of time doing that? Like
I think so. Yeah.
Well, maybe
I think it was like I saw people at like the premieres and stuff. They obviously gave them like stick-on tattoos or whatever to wear.
Well, they do it in the anime, and it's the exact same way. So if people have watched it, they would have understood. Except for the anime is a little bit more gruesome with the dog's death.
They actually show it, whereas this is the most PG possible version they could have done.
Yeah, in the anime, they're just like, hey, that dog, it just got smushed into...
That was a weird character as well.
Yeah. The dog character, dude?
Yeah. He just shows up at the...
Yeah, this whole room, and that was played by, I don't have who it is, but like that was played by a somebody. I just can't remember exactly who it was, but you know what I mean? Like for such a small role, it was actually a
Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't like random person. They actually had to cast someone to...
I think I read somewhere, what's his name? Machete.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, where's Danny Trejo? Was he busy that day?
He could have been the dog person.
It seems written for him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, where is Danny Trejo in this movie? what is going on with that? It's a very good question. I know what I'm saying.
What are you doing, Robert?
Yeah, what are you doing? But overall, would you say you liked the movie? Didn't like the movie? If you want to chuck a number at it, feel free. Or
probably like a 6.
Yeah. I agree. I would probably chuck it at like a 6 or something like that. It's just one of those movies that, as much as I'm like, it's a 6, it's got a lot of problems. If we come to the end of the year, it's definitely not going to make top 10 lists, but I'll probably still think about it because it did introduce me to a world that I found interesting that I'm now intrigued to check out more stuff about, I guess, like the original material, which sometimes happens. Like you watch something based on something and it's like, that was shit, but at the same time I've never heard of this material that was based on, and I now actually want to go check that out, so that's good. The loops around, comes back, turns out positive in the end, I suppose. Okay, thank you for joining us on today's review discussion for Alita Battle Angel. This, of course, was available on YouTube, which you'd know if you're watching it, with our wonderful faces right there. And, of course, it is also available as an audio-only version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all those other free podcasting services for you to check out. We can find all our other review discussions if you just search for Review Discussions by Explosion Network. It'll turn up there. You can also just head on over to explosionnetwork.com to get more movie-related content, including our fortnightly movie show, What Do You Want to Watch?, which is hosted by the one and only Ashley Hobley over there.
Yeah, that's me.
That's you. And you can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY, and you can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADIL. Until next one, bye-bye.